Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back to another edition of the Dumb and Dumber series with the IBFP. And we start with Daniel the Miracle Man Jacobs, and he states that he rates himself above Canelo Alvarez and Triple G. When asked, to make a list of the top 5 fighters in boxing, he put Errol Spence, Tank Davis, Anthony Joshua, Terrence Crawford, and himself, Danny Jacobs, on that list, leaving out Triple G, the guy who beat him, and also Canelo Alvarez, the guy who beat him most recently. So let's just break it down. Is Daniel Jacobs really rated above Canelo and Triple G? Let's just break it down. When you look at the Canelo Alvarez versus Danny Jacobs fight, you see that Canelo Alvarez had an edge of 188 to 131 total punches landed. So Canelo Alvarez outlanded Danny Jacobs in that fight. 58 of Canelo Alvarez's landed punches were all body shots. And, that tells a lot about the fight. It makes you understand that the reason why Danny Jacobs was so tentative and hesitant early in the fight to engage with Canelo Alvarez, why he grabbed him at times in the fight and didn't want him to get off those shots because they were having an effect. Think about it like this. Danny Jacobs landed just 20% of his total punches after landing 32% in the previous 8 fights. So in his previous 8 fights, he landed 32% of his total punches on his opponents, but against Canelo Alvarez, due to his sufficient defense, remember that, his sufficient defense, he only landed 20% of his punches. Now here's an interesting thing. A lot of fanboys don't truly understand how to score fights, and one of the biggest ways you can score a fight, one of the criteria for scoring fights, is defense. And Canelo Alvarez put on a masterful display. Not only was Canelo Alvarez defensively efficient, but he was offensively efficient as well. The guy was the reigning general. He was landing with the cleaner, harder punches, and he was the aggressor in the fight. Let's just be honest and unbiased. If you want to beat the champion, you want to, fight Canelo Alvarez in the biggest fight of your career, you got to go out from the opening bell, be aggressive, and put it on him. But no, he didn't do that. The reason why is because he was feeling those body shots. He was feeling that power. He didn't start to gain a little momentum and confidence until Canelo Alvarez's work rate tended to slow down towards the latter half of the fight. So at that point, look, we just got to be honest and unbiased. Canelo Alvarez outclassed Danny Jacobs. It was an interesting fight. It was a good fight, and it was competitive at points, but at the end of the day, Canelo Alvarez is just a level above. I mean, you got to think about it. Held this guy to 20% of his total punches landed after this guy had 32% in his previous 8 fights. If that's not effective, I don't know what is. Let's just be honest and unbiased. And this is what make, Danny Jacobs the moron of the month, is simply because before the fight he turns out and states that, hey, he believed that he will be the first person to stop Canelo Alvarez, and he couldn't even drop him. You can't stop somebody on the back foot. You can't stop somebody by grabbing and holding. You can't stop someone by not wanting to engage. Let's just be honest and unbiased. And let's get to the next one. We get to Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte comes out and states that Anthony Joshua is avoiding the rematch with him. He's fooling the public with fake excuses. This is the exact statement. He says, all I can do is stay ready and stay focused on what I'm doing. My only requirement is give me enough time to prepare properly. Don't do what Joshua did, saying I refused to fight when he already knew and told everyone in December that he had arranged a fight with Jarrell Miller June 1st at MSG before his fake negotiations with me. It's all BS. I've wanted to fight AJ again for years, and they know that. He had an immediate rematch with Andy Ruiz, but won't give me a rematch. That's why I want the WBC belt, so he can't continue to avoid me and fool the public with fake excuses. So Dillian Whyte is basically saying that, hey, Anthony Joshua didn't give him enough time to prepare. He said it was fake negotiations. He didn't want to take the fight on short notice. He said the negotiation wasn't real because he was already lined up with Jarrell Miller. And, Ruiz got a rematch and he didn't. So let's just break this down honestly and objectively. Does Dillian Whyte have a point? Well, let's take a look at it. Dillian Whyte did turn down the Anthony Joshua fight. We all know that. But let's see. And he was saying that, he wasn't even offered anything real with money as well. He said he was offered pennies. He was offered less than, what he got in the Chisora fight as well. So let's take a look at it. Anthony Joshua responded to Dillian Whyte's entire statement and stated, look, Dillian Whyte didn't turn down one offer from Anthony Joshua. He turned down 3 separate offers. You got to think about it. 3 separate offers. And not only did he turn down 3 separate offers from Anthony Joshua, let's be honest and unbiased, the offer they made was more than double what he got for the Derek Chisora fight. So it looks like Dillian Whyte is not being honest about it. He's clout chasing. And here's another interesting thing. Andy Ruiz got an immediate rematch simply because Andy Ruiz won. He beat Anthony Joshua. That's why he got an immediate rematch. Dillian Whyte, you got knocked out. You literally got put to sleep on the canvas. Your eyes rolled in the back of your head like you were eating a McDonald's sandwich. Let's just be honest and unbiased. That's why you didn't get an immediate rematch. That's why. Because you lost, stupid. You don't get an immediate rematch when you lose a close competitive. You get one if you lose a close competitive fight. But you don't get one if you get knocked out. You got knocked out. Why would you get an immediate rematch? That makes no sense. And then here's another thing about Dillian Whyte saying that he wants enough time to train, prepare, didn't want to fight on short notice. Well, you were willing to fight Tony Bellew on short notice following David Haye's injury. So that just debunked you again. It just debunked you again. Dillian Whyte is just obviously clout chasing Anthony Joshua. And look, I've called it down the line with Dillian Whyte. I've seen other fighters duck him, but at the end of the day, these accusations against Anthony Joshua make no sense. Let's just be honest and unbiased. And then let's get to the idiot of the decade, Adrien the Dummy Broner. He's demanding $10 million from Al Heyman to return to boxing. He's also reaching out to Eddie Hearn with those claims. But this is just one of many different idiotic statements from Adrien Broner. You've seen recently where he came out and said he stopped Keith Thurman in 2 rounds. How can you stop somebody when you don't let your hands go, stupid? This is the same Adrien Broner that said that he beat Manny Pacquiao after Manny Pacquiao thoroughly dominated him. Let's just be honest and unbiased. I wouldn't pay Adrien Broner $10, much less $10 million. Once again, it's the IBFP.